Hello and welcome to LFC Transfer Hub, your ultimate source for all Liverpool FC transfer news. Our first news is this. Mo Salah could make sensational return to ex-club just weeks after Liverpool exit. Roma and Juventus are reported to have investigated the feasibility of signing Mohamed Salah as the forward considers his future following his departure from Liverpool. Salah is presently on World Cup duty with Egypt, but he remains the subject of transfer speculation, particularly from Saudi Arabia, where several Pro League heavyweights have maintained long-term interest in the 34-year-old. Al Ittihad previously saw an offer for Salah rebuffed by Liverpool during the summer of 2023 and continues to pursue the experienced striker. Nevertheless, a widely anticipated switch to the Middle East is not guaranteed, given that there remains at least some chance that Salah could continue his career in Europe. YNWA reports that Roma, the side from which Salah joined Liverpool, is among those that have examined the possibility of reuniting with its former forward. Juventus has similarly explored this option, and its head coach, Luciano Spalletti, is greatly admired by Salah. Financial constraints, however, are likely to present a substantial barrier for either club in their quest to sign a player who would demand considerable wages. Such concerns could prove problematic for some of Salah's other potential suitors, including those in the Saudi Pro League such as Al Ittihad and Al Hilal. The United States has been mentioned as another possible landing spot for Salah, while the report notes that Turkish clubs have also expressed interest in the four-time Premier League Golden Boot recipient. It is widely anticipated that Salah's next destination will become apparent after the World Cup, with Egypt due to face Argentina in the round of 16 on Tuesday. Salah has netted once and laid on 2 assists across 4 matches to help Egypt progress to the knockout stages, though the team will need to overcome the heavily favoured reigning champions to book its place in the quarter-finals. He hinted that he would put off any decision regarding his future until after the World Cup, stating back in May, "I am still assessing things. I have time now. I am going to the World Cup, and then everything will become clear. If there is a good opportunity before then, I will decide, and if there isn't, I will make my decision after the World Cup." Next news. Liverpool news. Yan Diomande to Reds over PSG approved as 3 clubs in transfer fight. Andoni Iraola may need to smash through the £100 million threshold for the first time in his managerial career if he wants to land a rumoured Liverpool target. The Spaniard has already brought in Victor Munoz from Osasuna this summer, but is yet to follow up with further signings. The shortage of activity following the capture of the Spain international isn't due to a lack of options, as the Reds have been connected with players throughout their defence, midfield and attack. Among the players the Premier League giants have been associated with, Yan Diomande has received guidance should he leave RB Leipzig this summer. Meanwhile, there's an update on Curtis Jones and his contract standoff. Here's all the latest news from Anfield. Contract standoff. Curtis Jones's future at Anfield remains in doubt, with it unclear whether the midfielder will sign a new deal or head off for pastures new this summer. The 25-year-old has been strongly linked to a switch to Inter Milan, with the Italian giants unwilling to pay his £35 million asking price and hoping to get him for a cut price £21 million instead. Jones only has 12 months left on his contract, and the Reds run the risk of yet another talent, and in this case another homegrown academy graduate, leaving for free next June. He is thought to not want to move to Nottingham Forest, and now the Liverpool Echo have suggested Galatasaray as a possible destination. The Star's sister paper reported, "The midfield, too, is an area of intrigue, although Liverpool are unlikely to properly pursue any deals unless one or more of the current senior engine room is moved on." Curtis Jones, in the last 12 months of his contract, the most obvious potential sale with Inter Milan, Nottingham Forest and Galatasaray among the clubs interested. Diomande transfer advice. Yan Diomande's future remains uncertain, but recent guidance he's received could be promising news for Liverpool supporters, reports YNWA. Former Red star Joe Cole has advised the Ivorian to disregard interest from PSG, despite rumours suggesting the winger has earmarked the French champions as his preferred destination should he depart RB Leipzig this summer. There's a lot of top-level wingers in world football right now, but Diomande is as good as I've seen. He's so explosive, Cole stated via Paddy Power. My advice to him as a young player is, don't bother going to PSG. Go to Liverpool, because if they want you, and there's a hole in the team to play, then they really need you. PSG don't need anybody, but maybe his heart is set on Paris. If that's the case, and he backs himself, I've got no problem with that. But if Liverpool still want him, go out and convince him, because I think that would be the move that suits him best. The Reds have told the Bundesliga club they'll stump up £86 million for Diomande, a verbal bid that was turned down, with Leipzig previously suggesting that a fee of £112 million would be sufficient to seal his signature. Next news. Inter Milan's stance on new Curtis Jones transfer bid after rejected Liverpool offer. Inter Milan is seemingly still open to signing Curtis Jones, despite seeing a first offer for the Liverpool star rejected this summer. The midfielder has 1 year remaining on his contract at Anfield, which has cast some doubt over his future at the club, as the Nerazzurri revived their interest they held back in the January transfer window. Jones has often been a useful player for the Reds, if not a guaranteed starter, with his hard work and versatility offering the ideal solution to many problems within the team throughout a long campaign. However, as he nears the peak years of his career, along with his dwindling contract situation, an exit could be on the cards, with Inter reportedly pushing to get a deal done. An initial offer from Inter has seemingly been rejected by Liverpool, as the club still looks to maximise value from the star, even with his uncertain future. While that threw doubt over a possible switch to the Nerazzurri, Italian outlet Gazzetta dello Sport reports that Inter will revisit a deal for Jones in the coming weeks. As it stands, a winger remains the priority for the Serie A champions, but once a move on that front is sealed, all focus will be toward discussions with Liverpool. Christian Kivu, the Inter manager, is claimed to be a huge admirer of Jones, believing that he has all the qualities that are currently absent within his current midfield ranks. While talks of a switch have cooled since that initial offer was rejected, the report adds that the Liverpool ace is still a top target heading into the remainder of the summer transfer market. It remains to be seen what price the Reds would be willing to settle at, especially given the nature of a transfer market that has seen midfielders such as Elliot Anderson, Sandro Tonali, and Mateus Fernandes move for big money. Before an exit for Jones could be considered, reports claim that Andoni Iraola is set for showdown talks with the midfielder during pre-season to determine his place in the squad for the future. It's unclear whether that could change his fortunes, with other reports claiming that Liverpool is open to exploring a new contract for Jones in the coming weeks, though his future remains in the balance. For now, all the Reds can do is prepare for pre-season and see how the squad returns, with those showdown talks likely to dictate his decision one way or another. The next few weeks will be instrumental in deciding whether Jones will remain at Anfield or if his journey ends after making it from the academy to the senior team. Next. Liverpool news. Yan Diomande given Reds transfer approval as Ayoub Bouadi price discussed. Andoni Iraola may have to break the £100 million barrier for the first time in his career if he is to acquire a reported Liverpool target. The Spaniard has already signed Victor Munoz from Osasuna this summer, but has yet to follow up with additional arrivals. The lack of business after the acquisition of the Spain international is not down to a lack of targets, as the Reds have been linked with players across their defence, midfield and attack. Among the players the Premier League side have been linked to, Yan Diomande has been offered advice should he depart RB Leipzig this summer, while the valuation of Ayoub Bouadi has been hinted at by the Lille president. Bouadi. Price discussed. Lille midfielder Ayoub Bouadi has been one of the breakout stars of the World Cup, thanks to his impressive performances for Morocco. The 18-year-old has starred for the AFCON champions, resulting in Liverpool, Arsenal and Manchester United reportedly showing interest in the starlet. However, for those expecting a potential bargain, acquiring Bouadi will be nothing of the sort, according to Lille president Olivier Letang. The 53-year-old cited the recent sales of Elliot Anderson, £116 million to Manchester City, and Sandro Tonali, £100 million to Tottenham Hotspur, as a baseline for what a club may have to pay to land Boadi. When asked for a figure the club would want for the midfielder, he said to Eurosport, "How to answer that question? Have I spoken, brought up the subject, given a figure? No, never. You have to look at his level. How much have players like Anderson or Tonali been sold for, who are much older, 23 and 26 respectively, but without room for improvement, so you have an idea of the value of Ayoub, who has a unique profile at only 18 years old." Letang added, "Many clubs are interested in him, but very few can afford him right now. He's already one of the best midfielders in the world, and still has significant room for improvement. He's only 18, and has his whole future ahead of him." Diomande transfer advice. Yan Diomande's future is far from certain, but the latest advice he's received could spell good news for Liverpool fans. Ex-Red star Joe Cole has told the Ivorian to ignore the overtures from PSG, despite reports that the winger has made the French champions his next destination, should he leave RB Leipzig this summer. There's a lot of top-level wingers in world football right now, but Diomande is as good as I've seen. He's so explosive, Cole said, via Paddy Power. "My advice to him as a young player is don't bother going to PSG. Go to Liverpool, because if they want you, and there's a hole in the team to play, then they really need you." PSG don't need anybody, but maybe his heart is set on Paris. If that's the case, and he backs himself, I've got no problem with that. But if Liverpool still want him, go out and convince him, because I think that would be the move that suits him best. The Reds have informed the Bundesliga side that they'll fork out £86 million for Diomande, a verbal offer that was rejected, with Leipzig previously indicating that a fee of £112 million would be enough to secure his services. Next news. Andoni Iraola's next Liverpool star could be less than a week away from emerging. The World Cup stars might still be absent, but Andoni Iraola will be more than familiar with plenty of the Liverpool players who assemble for the first day of pre-season training under their new boss next Monday. There is Milos Kerkez, who played under the Basque at Bournemouth, while the likes of Dominic Szoboszlai, Curtis Jones, Joe Gomez, Jeremy Frimpong, Kostas Tsimikas, Harvey Elliott and Federico Chiesa will be familiar figures to a manager who has been in the Premier League for 3 years. There's also Rio Ngamoa, with Iraola no doubt keen to see what the 17-year-old can do up close. But what about the rest of the Reds' young stars? Paul Gorst. Few stateside supporters are likely to know much about Joshua Abe when Liverpool touched down on the other side of the Atlantic. But the 2 weeks in America might leave many with a fair impression of what the young winger is all about. Abe doesn't turn 16 until this month, but the Reds viewed his contract extension in early June as something of a significant coup, given the level of interest in the teenage winger. Abe was wanted by the likes of Manchester City, Manchester United and Chelsea, but it is Liverpool where he will spend the next 12 months as a minimum. And a pre-season tour is the perfect chance, if he needed it, to get an eye-opener for just how big the club he represents is. The left-footed, right-sided winger has even been allocated a squad number for the coming campaign, with Abe set to run out with the number 40 on his back. It is a symbol of sorts as to just how highly they rate him. And given Rio Ngamoha's rise to prominence, the Reds are able to show their best talents that first-team opportunities are available. Liverpool's deal with Abe is performance-based, incentivising progress they feel will bring out the best in the exciting young talent. And 8 goals in just 10 under-18 appearances last season was evidence of a potentially special talent. Given his particularly tender years, however, the tour is unlikely to catapult him into the realms of the first-team squad right away. But it's an important summer nonetheless for Abe, and it will be fascinating to see how he handles the limelight, if only for a fortnight or so. He is most certainly one to watch. Mark Jones. Jeremy Jacquet emerged into all of our lives last week, and the updates on Giovanni Leone continue to be positive ones as he recovers from that horrible ACL injury he got on his debut. But there are even more promising young centre-backs at Liverpool, and while no one remembers the end of last season with any fondness at all, the presence of Mortala and Jai as an unused substitute for the matches against Manchester United, Chelsea and Aston Villa showed just how quickly confidence has risen in a player who only signed in January. Jai, a £1 million capture from Senegalese side Amity FC, arrived as an under-21 player in the winter, but his promising displays after an early injury brought him to the attention of Arne Slot, and Andoni Iraola is sure to be similarly impressed. The tall, athletic centre-back, who turned 18 in January, is still likely to see most of his football in the under-21 side this season, but his arrival is expected to allow slightly older players, such as Amara Nallo, to join a club on loan to gain first-team experience. That said, Iraola has shown before that he is willing to trust young defenders, with the likes of Dean Huijsen and Ilya Zabarnyi shining at Bournemouth, and while in the immediate first-team picture, that looks to be good news for Xhaka and Leone, keep an eye out for Ndiaye too.